We're going back to racing in
Right.
5,
Hello again.
4, 3, 2, 1. Pit limiters off. Track is green.
Hello again, we are back, both in terms of the technical difficulty we've had with our stream. I hope you've been able to join us again on the new one, and also that we have resumed green flag racing with 28 minutes to go. Some technical problems with the Only Transport car, which had just taken the lead on the road. They have had their lead reset to sort of around the 35-second mark, so that they have a fair chance of rejoining in the race. So they've got another stop to make. They've rejoined in the lead. These two cars are second. Team Purple Helmet, which is the driver, which is Will Murphy, right in front of Boo Barracuda's Martin Buchan. But Buchan's made his last stop and really gained from that Code 80 coming out when it did. So Team Purple Helmets have got to stop again. Buchan's going to come right through here, so he goes up to second on the road. He's 37 seconds, that should be about right, behind Only Camsport, who do need to make another pit stop. But I think the fact that Code 80 came out while Boo Barracuda was taking their final pit stop has massively worked in their favour. So we lost that issue. Took around 15 minutes to fix, so we now only have 27 minutes to go. And most of the cars in the field do still need to make another pit stop. Boo Barracuda will be fine. Napa have made their last stop. The number 35 Quatermass car probably would have needed to make a last stop, but that long period of slow speed and fuel efficient running means it should be okay. I think there's been an incident somewhere. It sounded like it. I'm not sure what's going on. I certainly heard a shout, but I can't see on the screen exactly what it was. And the sector times haven't shaken out after the restart, so I think it might be Aaron Daly. Unfortunately, the 35 car I think might have had an incident. His lap times look okay, so I'm not sure if it was. So, coming through, Only Camsport Mac just got on a 36.1. That's not a great lap time. He is, of course, trying at the end of the second stint of those hard tyres. Martin Buchan on softs. Very much going for it, and does a 33.9, as you'd expect with those nice new soft tyres on board. Buchan in then will drive about 80% of this race distance by himself. Boo Barracuda, 95. They are in for their final stop. Nathan Burton coming in. I think it's about even, so it's not sure whether he'll hand back over to Sean King or not. He's done 2 stints. He might hand back to Sean. But Boo Barracuda really gaining from the timing of that Code 80 coming out, and with Only Camsport having to pit again, not even for tyres, just needing fuel. Boo Barracuda's race to lose. Napa Racing UK have already made their stop, really losing out as well, so they technically find themselves a lap down. They're in 6th place now with Boo Barracuda pitting. Their strategy of having one super quick stint through John Dean Smith not really working out in their favour. Poor John, only getting, 45, 50 minutes of track time in the car, only doing this last stint, and then having to spend 15 of it under a Code 80, so he's only going to get probably not much more than half an hour racing time. Only Camsport are in for their final stop, with just under 25 minutes to go. That allows Boo Barracuda to retake the lead. Purple Helmets are in for their last stop as well, as is the 63 Quatermass car. These cars will be able, as well as taking on, if they want to take on time, but they will be able to short fuel, because they were expecting to make these pit stops probably with between 40 and 50 minutes to go. We've actually only got 24, so they're only looking at doing maybe another 15 or 16 laps to the finish. Only Camsport heading back out now. But they're going to find themselves a long, long way down on Boo Barracuda, especially given the length of the pit lane. Well, fortune favours the brave sometimes. Martin Buchan starting to drive the majority of the race. Only that second stint out of the 5 driven by Stuart French. It looks like it's going to be Scotland the race today, the way it's going, with under 23 minutes to go. Only Cansport have resumed in second place. The deficit's 40 seconds. Now, this would have been a very different story if they hadn't had that technical issue with just under 45 minutes to go. Not because of anything they've lost out, just the fact of life of Boo Barracuda already being in the pit at the point that it happened, and sometimes endurance racing just works out that way. Even at Le Mans, even with the 2 safety cars they have at Le Mans, rather than 1, there can be big winners and big losers. When these incidents happen, that's racing. The only negative is that I think it looks like it may deprive us of what was set to be a very interesting and exciting battle for the race win. The pit stop's still shaking, I'm still trying to figure out who's where. So Purple Helmet are come back out in fourth. Avanti Racing are now 3rd on the road, but I'm sure they've still got 1 pit stop to make. Purple Helmet have actually come out about 30 seconds ahead of Napa. Yeah, Avanti Racing have just come in now for their last stop. So Purple Helmet, so Boo Barracuda lead only Cansport by 42, who lead Purple Helmet by another 39, and then I think it's about another 25 to 30 back to the Napa car, which should be able to run substantially quicker. 23 seconds is the gap between Purple Helmet and Napa Racing UK. So John Dean Smith, plenty of work to do in the last just over 20 minutes to get onto the podium. Tyre information just in case there have been any dramatic changes on the tyre selection. Have a look at the tyres for a while. If I'm reading that correctly, it looks like only Cansport have just changed the rears. They've gone for hard. They've kept the hard fronts on, but they've gone for the soft rears. Boo Barracuda on the soft rear, expect Team Purple Helmet keeping the hards. So, interest kind of split strategy by only Cansport to give them a bit of extra grip. As Matt Good just got, has actually handed back over to Ben Brown. Ben Brown has taken over for the last stint. Try and give them a best chance of getting themselves back into this race, but the lap times at the moment are not working in their favour. Buchan's doing a 34.1 and Cansport a 34.9. Are we going to get about the 13 Purple Helmet and Napa Racing UK? I think we probably are. Will Murphy did a 1:36.3 last time around. Napa Racing UK with John Dean Smith did a 34.2. He's catching at 2 seconds a lap. So that means it's 21 seconds, so he needs about 11 laps to do it. 19 minutes to go. I think it might come down to whether Will Murphy makes a mistake or not. That battle for 3rd place could end up being very, very close. I think Cansport have done everything they can right. I think this would have been a quite close battle for the win, particularly with the fresh soft rears. Had we not had the Code 80. But we've still got an exciting battle for 3rd to look forward to. John Dean Smith on the rampage, taking another half a second or more out of Purple Helmet in the first sector alone, trying to get down. We go on board with John Dean Smith now. Certainly no margin for error, but the same will be true of Will Murphy. So, barring any disaster and any unforeseen circumstances, we've had plenty of those in the last 3 hours and 41 minutes. I think 1st and 2nd place are probably relatively settled. 3rd place very much up for grabs. The lead of Buchan is in between Purple Helmet and Napa Racing UK on the road, so John Dean Smith is actually a lap down in 4th place. Avanti Racing have had their last pit stop. Edson Manguera is still in the car. They've actually come back out in 5th. Only go for the gap and now 6th. I've got a feeling they might have to make one more pit stop. And then it's the 2 Quatermass cars, 35 ahead of 63. 60 made another stop. Aaron Daly may well be able to get that car to the end now. One of the beneficiaries of the Code 80. And then Barracuda, after just making his last stop, with Nathan Burton staying in the car, they've dropped to the rear. 17 and a half minutes to go. Another 2.1 seconds for John Dean Smith that time round. The gap is down to 18.8. At that rate, it's going to take him 9 or 10 laps to catch him, and we've got about enough time for another 11 or 12. This could be very, very close for 3rd over the last couple of laps of this race. Very close. There is John Dean Smith. A full second in Sector 1 on this lap. These are going to be 10 or 12 of the most intense laps I think he's ever driven. But there is a podium up for grabs. They've not been unlucky with the Code 80. It could have been a lot more. Another full second in the 2nd sector. You don't normally find as much in the 3rd because it is just coming around the banking towards the end of the lap. Just 2 tenths. Again, 2.1 seconds. 35.9 for Murphy. 33.8 for John Dean Smith. He was even faster than Martin Buchan that time round. Although Barracuda and Nathan Burton with fresh tyres and a short fuel load is just on a 33.6. He tries to recover from the back of the field. It's not the first time today that the car in last place has been the fastest car on the track. 16.7 seconds the gap for John Dean Smith. He needs to keep catching basically a second a minute on Will Murphy, or hope that Murphy makes an error. One error would be enough, I think, to swing it in Napa's favour. This is the battle we're watching now for 3rd place. 40.6 in the 1st sector this time. 40.0 for the Napa car. Another 6 tenths. Oh, he's gone wide out turn 6 though, over the curbs.
4, 3, 2,
and we've got another Code
1.
80.
All cars, Code 37, pit limit is on.
Race neutralised. This time and it's another Code 80, and it's a technical problem for the only go for the gap car. Currently being driven by Aidan Carter, he's sharing it with Dan Hyde. Thankfully, and that's where where it's happened. That's why it's happened while they were going through the bus stop and caused quite a big accident. But again, I think that is technical. You can see the car stationary there on sort of below the apron of turn 3 of the oval. Aidan Carter is the driver at the moment. Thankfully, this one hopefully easier to solve because there's no cars in the pits. But the race is neutralised once again, just under 15 minutes to go, and this very much works in Team Purple Helmet's favour because it greatly reduces the amount of time that John Dean Smith has to catch up that gap. Like a sticking throttle for the number 2 car there. We'll get them back out on track for the last few minutes. I think they were running in 6th place. Not sure whether they would need to make another hit stop before the end. It would be a good result. They were lagging towards the back of the field early on, so to recover to 6th place would be a good result for them if they can still get it. So the order with, let's see if we get any more messages, with just under 14 minutes of the race left now. Barracuda, Onic Camsport, Team Purple Helmet, Napa Racing UK, then Avanti, 35 Quatermass, 63 Quatermass, Barracuda. Only go for the gap technically last at the moment, but they should, hopefully, if we can get them back in the race, should be restored, I think, to P6. Hopefully we get this fixed as quickly as we can and we do get at least a few more laps of green flag racing before the end. Depends which one you consider the A and the B team between Blue Barracuda and New Barracuda, isn't it? An A team and a number 1 team, I like. Either way, it is, technical problems happen, that is a fact, but it has robbed us of what was really building up to be a very entertaining final hour. So I'm going to leave you for a few minutes while the technical team here resolve the problem. Once we get back towards green flag racing, we can update you with the situation. We're back with you hopefully at the end of the race. Okay, back with you here. The only go for the Gap car is back on track. Aiden Carter resuming, and they've just managed to get him in the right order, so he's in the right place for the restart. That's why if you're looking on the screen, he's just come to sort of stop at turn 5 there. Yep, right, now I get to make sure we've got the right gap, and we can get back to racing. We have I've got the code 8 notification. You can't see the clock on the screen. We have just under 11 minutes of the race to go. And it shouldn't be long now to get Aiden Carter. He comes to stop at the exit of turn 6. I think Napa Racing and I think Avanti as well will need to come through. He's going to have to wait for a fairly low speed for them to come back out, because they can't accelerate the other two cars to let them out, because then they'll get an advantage of everybody else. So they've got to come around at low speed. I think the Napa car, there's John Dean Smith to come through turn 6 now. But I think we've got to wait for Avanti as well, and they've only just crossed the finish line. So I think it's going to be another probably couple of minutes, unfortunately. I don't know how far behind Avanti that Go for the Gap were. So, yeah, it could well be another few minutes. The clock just ticks down below 10 minutes now. 9 minutes 55 to go, and on board with Aiden Carter in the waiting game. We go on board now with the Avanti car being driven by Edson Manguera. He's just coming past the pit exit. So we've got to wait for him to come past the number 2 car that was parked on the exit at turn 6. And then, however much the gap was, I don't have that information to hand, unfortunately, so I can't say exactly where they were supposed to be. I mean, the gap between Avanti Race and Quatermass is like quite a bit, so a bit tight, unfortunately. Apology for the fact that this has turned out to be a little bit of an anticlimax with now 9 minutes to go. Next time round for the Sim Race Endurance Series, they'll be in the GT3 cars. It'll be a multi-model, multi-make race with some balance of performance to give everyone a fair chance. We're hoping for a bigger grid as well than the 9-car rally, potentially even a capacity grid of 15. That race is the 6 Hours of Estoril. It's on Sunday, the 15th of May. And we're very much looking forward to having you with us for that in a couple of months' time. Of course, if you're in the Milton Keynes area, you want to try Simply Race yourself, get on simplyrace.co.uk. Book yourself in for your own race with your own friends, colleagues, or your relatives, or for a free practice session. Give these cars a go. Pretty much any track and car you can think of available to drive. See how you can test yourself all. So, trying to drive 2.5 hours like Jack Ashton has probably isn't recommended if you've not been here before. So, the Avanti car is through. Only go through the gap of now. Aidan Carter has started driving again just behind him. I don't know what the gap was, and that's what the front lineman in the team will be working out. 7.5 minutes to go now. And Aidan, I think Aidan's been told to drop back a bit further. He's on the apron now. He's just crawling along. Bring that gap back out compared to where he was behind Edson Manguera. So just to remind you, it's Boo Barracuda. That's a 666 car. Martin Buchan driving, partnered by Stuart French. They're leading. 900 Onyx Camsport. Ben Brown driving at the moment, partnered by Matt Goodger-Scott. And in third place, 98 Team Purple Helmet, which is currently being driven by Will Murphy in partnership with the Marathon man, Jack Ashton. Fourth place, 51, Napa Racing UK, John Dean Smith driving the anchor leg, ably supported by Cameron Richardson and by Adam Christopher. Fifth is Avanti Racing, Edson Manguera driving, joined by Max Wixling. Sixth is Only Go for the Gap, now being put back in place, Aidan Carter driving, joined by Dan Hyde. Seventh is the number 35 Quatermass car, Aaron Daly driving, he's been partnered by Michael Tyler. Eighth is the number 63 Quatermass car, currently being driven by Adam Locke and partnered by Ben Bennyworth. Bring up the rear, number 95, with the entire field currently in a Barracuda sandwich. Ooh, Barracuda in ninth place, Nathan Burton being partnered by Sean King. They've had a very up and down day. And they, fortunately, and somebody has to, bringing up the rear. 6 minutes to go. Get back going now, we might get about 4 more laps.
We're going green in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to racing. Well done, everybody. Thank you.
And the code 80 is removed, and with 5.5 minutes to go, we are back to green flag racing. So we're going to get 3 or 4 more laps in here. I can't say exactly what the gaps are. We've got through a few sectors, and the cars have got back up to full racing speeds. The order remains 666 Boo Barracuda, 900 Only Cam Sport, 98 Team Purple Helmet, 51 Napa Racing UK, 7 Avanti Racing, 35 Quatermass car, the 63 Quatermass car, a new Barracuda, and then Only Go for the Gap. It's coming up on time, it's going to be in 9th place, which is going to have to wait a little while, again, for that to shake out a bit more. I think just it looks like they're just ahead of one of the Quatermass cars, which is about, it's had a flat move. So we'll let that shake out for a little while, but we're into the last 5 minutes of the 4 hours of Daytona. There is your leader, Martin Buchan. A man who, about 3 hours ago, was sat in this commentary box with his head in his hands, thinking that strategy meant the racer got away from him. When he realised that Jack Ashton was double at the time, only double stinting the halves, it turned out to be triple stinting, after Boo Barracuda had led the early stages. Buchan changed the plan, took over from Stuart French, who's only driven just the one stint, 45, 50 minutes of track time in the car. Buchan double stinted the soft tyres, and then fate intervened when technical problems hit the Only Camsport car while Boo Barracuda was serving the last pit stop, just as Camsport came through to take the lead. And technical problems, a lengthy code 80, and that really handed them a big advantage, and they now have a lead of, I think it's something like 40 to 50 seconds. We'll just wait for confirmation as the sector times come through. And it means Martin Buchan, along with Stuart French, very much well placed to take this win. The gap is 51 seconds. Team Purple Helmet in third, the only other car now on the lead lap. Had it not been for that first code 80, I don't think that would have been the case. we're on board with John D. Smith for Napa Racing UK, and they are very much a diverse strategy compared to most of the other cars, and with a three-man team as well. They unfortunately have been the big losers of both of these Code 80s here. The first, them depriving their strategy a chance of going for the win, and the second, the chance of chasing down Team Purple Helmet for the podium. And it looks like they're going to get a fourth place at their effort for all three of their drivers, John Dean Smith, Cameron and Adam Christopher, Cameron Richardson I should say, he said William there, sorry. John Dean Smith, Cameron Richardson and Adam Christopher. Doesn't really deserve. I think they probably deserve better than fourth, but that's racing. So, we're into the last couple of laps. 2.5 minutes to go. See if there's any battles on track. The 63 Quatermass car is 2 seconds ahead of Barracuda. I think only Go for the Gap have been into the pit, so they've got towards the rear. I don't know if there's a technical problem. I think actually, because I think they were on the pit stop, I think actually that's them running out of fuel. Because it was quite a short stop as well, so I think they've just fallen short on the fuel mileage because of that. Plenty of their Code 80 that they caused. So apart from Quatermass Motorsport, number 63 in 7th place, which is 2 seconds ahead of Barracuda in 8th, that is the only battle on track. Look at Martin Buchan lapping the Team Purple Helmet car in 3rd place. So only CanSport in 2nd. Now the only other car on the lead lap, and I'm looking at the timings and Buchan coming round, I've got a feeling the next, it's going to be quite tight. I think the next lap might be the last lap of the race. The time 140. He did the last lap of 33.6, but he's not going to get the line in time 34.33. No, he's not. So Martin Buchan here coming through to start what will be the final lap of the 4 hours of Daytona. He has a lead of 52 seconds, much of which has been handed to him by good fortune, but do not let that take away from the excellent driving that we've seen throughout from Martin Buchan. That he's has done throughout this race, and also in making the strategy change and double stinting the stop to get them back into the conversation. It's arguable they wouldn't have had the chance of taking advantage of that Code 80 had it not been for double stinting the softs and really gaining the pace and getting back into the race there. Buchan's really on it. I mean, his fastest lap of the race is a 1:32.9. That is the fastest lap of the race. He did it on lap 2, very, very long time ago now. But his last lap was a 33.5, so very much unlocking the performance of the car. Once again, we go on board with him for the final time. 35 seconds on the clock. I'm fairly sure this will be the final lap. And a penny for the thoughts of Stuart French. He's going to be a race winner, but he spent no more than about 3/4 of an hour in the car while watching wee Scotsman work his magic as he comes through the bus stop, out of turns 11 and 12. And we're going to watch him come up to the line now with 15 seconds to go. This will be it. 3rd place for Team Purple Helmet, Will Murphy and Jack Ashton. 2nd for Owning CanSport with Ben Brown and Matt Goodger-Scott. But here he comes. The clock runs out now. It'll be to take the checkered flag. Boo Barracuda. Car number 666 is number 1. Martin Buchan and Stuart French have won the 4 hours of Daytona. They win the Sres opener for 2023. Fine drive by both of them. Team Purple Helmet have already crossed the line. Jack Ashton's heroics have got them 3rd place along with Will Murphy. They've already crossed the line as they were a lap down. There they are on screen there. And we're just waiting for Only CanSport now. They've been quite unfortunate. They had those technical problems, but Ben Brown and Matt Goodger-Scott have both driven very, very well. Just 1 or 2 little errors from Goodger-Scott, but don't let us take away a very good performance. A 2nd place that could have been 1 better had luck not intervened. And we're going to watch now Only CanSport come across the line to take a well-earned 2nd place. A flash of the lights to celebrate. Great drive by the gold and black car. Wait for everyone else to come across the line, and I think there's a big Barracuda. Oh, I think Barracuda have just beaten 63 Quatermass. And here we go. And this is for position. This is for 7th place on the run to the line. It's Nathan Burton. It's Adam Locke. This is the last call of the race. We've got a battle for 7th place here. He's a 10th separating them after 4 hours of racing. It's a slipstream. He's going to come out. He's coming up to the line. He's on the outside. Is he going to get it? Oh, there's contact! And there is a crash after the line. It's a big, big accident. And he takes out the other car onto the checkered flag as well. Less than a tenth half a car length. You can't blame them for going for it right at the end of the race. Boo Barracuda end up in victory lane, and Ooh Barracuda ends up on its side. We might have to go and get the winch to extract Nathan Burton from that car. But at least we've got a bit of drama to finish. A shame that the last hour was a bit anticlimax, but at least that gave us a bit of a thrill at the end of the race as well. So very quickly, the podium presentation coming up, but to run through the final results of the 2023 4 Hours of Daytona. 666, Boo Barracuda, your winners. 138 laps completed. Great win there for Stuart French and for Martin Buchan. 900 only Cam Sport in second place. That's Ben Brown and Matt Goodger-Scott. Third, number 9018 Purple Helmet, Jack Ashton and Will Murphin. Fourth, number 51 Napa Racing UK, what might have been for then John Dean Smith, Cameron Richardson and Adam Christopher. Fifth, Ravanti Racing, Max Witchling and Edson Mangera. Sixth, number 35, the Quatermass team, benefiting from not having to make that last stop because of the code 80s. Aaron Daly, Michael Tyler, both doing a very good job today. Ooh Barracuda just holding on to 7th place there in the number 95 car, with Nathan Burton driving at the end, joined by Sean King. 8th, number 63, the Quatermass car of Adam Lock and Ben Bennyworth, and only go for the gap, Dan Hyde and Aidan Carter rounding out the field. Podium presentations coming up very shortly. My name's Dan McCalla. Hope you enjoyed my company the last 4 hours. I certainly enjoyed this race as well.